Okay, we're at it again. As you can see, I have changed up the lighting a bit. I wanted to make sure that I had a little more lighting. I like the nighttime lighting with the overhead off, and I may do that some more, but I had something to use as a physical, hey, look at this, and so I figured more light was better. Yay, more light. Okay. Anyways, so we're still doing this rambling nighttime thing, but today I actually had an idea about something I wanted to talk about: props. So when you're dealing with tabletop games, uh, it doesn't come up as often. In LARPs, it comes up a lot, and that's the thing of props. Having something on hand that sort of evokes the scene, that represents something that exists in the world. And of course, many of my friends and myself in LARPing loved the text prop. The text prop was the best thing ever. Because a text prop gave you information about the world. Sometimes it was a mystery. Sometimes there was things to learn that you didn't know. Sometimes it was gives you insight into the bad guy, the whole 9 yards. They're great. I love them. So you develop sort of a collection of artifacts when you're LARPing. I have a big pile of boffer weapons off camera here, and sometime I'll bring those over. I've got a bunch of boffer weapons. I've got a bunch of little knickknacks and coins from a game that will probably never run again. Gemstones, the whole 9 yards. Um, I've got a bunch of them. But this, right here, is one of the text props I have. Now, this one is probably one of the more impressive looking text props I own, which is why I brought it out. This is from a game called Nero, New England role-playing organization. I think that, yeah, New England role-playing organization or something like that. It's one of the early LARPs, and it's one of the few national chain LARPs in the United States. There are a few of them, few national chain ones, but that one's probably the biggest, or at least it was when I was playing in it. There's another one out called Heroic Interactive Theater, which feels very much like it's a spin-off from Nero. Like, they decided, you know what, they were kind of tired of dealing with Nero stuff, so they ran off their own game, but they sort of kept it similar, I guess. I don't know. Some friends of mine down in Atlanta, or in Chattanooga, have a chapter of the Shonen, I think is the name of it. I keep meaning to go down there and give it a shot, but I never have the time or the money or the intersection of those two things to make that a viable thing. If I can't make it to the LARPs I've been playing for, decade or more, going to a newer LARP seems even less likely. That said, um, there are a few chain LARPs out there. Nero is probably one of the largest still. It's got chapters in Georgia, Tennessee, um, Texas, obviously up through New England. I seem to remember there used to be a Nero Canada. There was a Nero Las Vegas. Um, I'm not sure where all else they go now, but it's a big thing. It's a big organization, and I played a character in Nero named Mortimer Underhill, and I talked like this all of the time. He was the gravedigger, you see, and he was permanently creepy. Um, I had fun playing the character. He's actually probably the most interesting character I've ever played in some regards. Um, and there goes the sound of the chair. I really need to fix this chair. Uh, he was a good guy with all the earmarks of being maybe a bad guy, but not in a sort of Wolverine is a good guy, but he kills people kind of way, but more in a he's kind of strange and bizarre and creepy, yet his morality is paladin-like. He is pure, focused on, being a good guy. And that made for an interesting character to play. But anyways, while playing that game for a number of years, I picked up this journal. It belonged to another character, and it has the history of the LARP scene in the area, really, in the Atlanta area. And some of it is silly stuff. People collecting information about various NPCs. Heron Rowe, Star Shiva's trap maker, author of the infamous letters, can resist charms as of 550 to 558 HR, was 176 years old. This is an info sheet on a group of bad guys. And that's kind of awesome. Larkin von Tenebras, the alchemist of the downtrodden. This is the sort of thing people make for their teams and their groups, and this was done on somebody's computer, obviously, and they printed it out so that they could hand it out to the rest of their team. This is much more in keeping of with the sort of atmosphere. And really, what you want is something that looks like this when you're making a text prop. You want something that looks like it could exist in the world. We got letters and contracts. This is probably drawn on somebody's notebook paper, as you can see. Back in the 90s, early 90s, this was probably written up. I wasn't even playing the game then, but somehow I ended up with it. I've got in-play letters. I've got a treatise on how the magical theory in the game worked. And how they use energies and affinities for energies in here. And it reads like a sort of dry dissertation on how to, deal with these particular energies. And not in a, this is scholarly. It reads as scholarly, and it's, 8 pages, 9 pages of scholarly work on this. I've got a copy, and this is clearly done on a photo paper, like a photocopier, a copy of the Diaries of Heron Rowe. Now, if you don't know what this is, the Diaries of Heron Rowe were... They were like a series of letters and a series of diary entries of an insane, traps rogue. And a traps rogue is a peculiarity of LARPing in a lot of ways. I don't know that a lot of people in purely tabletop would understand what a trap rogue is, but it's the guys who specialize in making and disarming traps. That's their whole reason for existing. And you take them on modules with you because invariably the module is going to be trapped. And they are a little nuts because these are the guys who go and disarm bombs. Really, this is fantasy equivalent of bomb disposal guys. And they're heroes. Well, in this case, he was a bad guy, but a funny one. This how to explain. If you've ever seen the bit on the Tick, the Mad Bomber, What Bombs by Midnight, I would swear up and down that whoever wrote that character had seen these diaries. And I can't do them justice right now. It, it, like the line, "Hey King," I say. "Hey what?" He says to me, "And you the trap maker, you the trap maker, right?" "Yeah." "Hey, you heard of me?" "Ah, yes." And he pauses, then to gnaw on a little bit of an arm of his chair. "My lord, those rats are disgusting. Get this." Then he says to me, "My daughter has told me much about you." So I say to him, "Your daughter? I do not know any rat ladies." And then who walks in but the rest of his entourage, led by this rat woman, all dressed in. Yeah, it's weird stuff like that. It's very much in character. This is handwritten, or at least handwriting font, so it looks very out of place, I guess. And we got a couple of different documents like that in here. Here's another one. This was stuff that happened before I even started playing. I inherited these from someone else, so I could go back and read about the characters, and it was really neat. Let's see. I've got another one of those. Oh, yeah. And illustrations of magical circles for doing rituals in the game, and they're cool. And listing of items used for ritual components. And there's a diary of a character in here, a PC, another PC in here, and it's really fascinating stuff. And I can go back and I can look at this, and I have this physical artifact, this expression of the creativity of the people involved in making the game. Not just the players, but the people running the game. They produced a lot of this content. But, the players didn't wait on them to produce a lot of content. They produced their own content. They wrote their own pieces of the world. And text props represent pieces of the world. And this is a really impressive physical representation of a text prop, which I love. Which is why I keep it on a bookshelf. Even though I haven't played the game itself in almost a decade. I haven't played the game that this is from in almost a decade, but I still keep this because it's cool. And that's one of the reasons why I get into LARPing and why I enjoy, playing LARPs, is the sort of existence of things like this. You can do this for tabletop games too. I do not think for an instant you can't. It takes, time and energy. You have to decide that's what you want to do. But you can do it. And I think that's awesome. I think more people should be using props at the table for tabletop games. And, I think they should be using, obviously I think they should be using them at LARPs, because that's where I picked up the love of them. But, if you're doing it if you're doing a tabletop game and you want to add investment for the players, make cool text props. They'll love you for it. They'll sit there and they'll try and work out like codes, and hey, this handwriting looks like this other guy's handwriting, and I wonder if they're the same thing, and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it to anybody. That's all I'm going to talk about tonight, because I'm coming up on my 15 minutes, and I don't want to go too far over that. But this has been another late night ramble. And subscribe and like, and I hope my excitement about LARPing props is a little bit infectious and encourages you to make things. And let me know what your favorite props were and your favorite text props if you get a chance. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.